Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. This is the Toffee TV Everton podcast, another edition of the Ned and Cam podcast. Cameron is in the studio once again for the podcast. How are you?
I'm alright, mate. I'm alright. I'm not too bad. A better weekend than last weekend, so yeah, we can say that. How are you, mate?
I'm feeling optimistic. Obviously, last week we were very disappointed with the Villa result, and it's funny how after one loss not one loss, but we've been so consistently bad at home this season. But it's funny, after the Villa game we were like, yeah, Europe's gone now. It's what's the point? We've created our own doom ourselves, and it's all only got ourselves to blame. But then it's funny, after our one weekend, Tottenham dropped points, Villa dropped points, so we got away from them as well. Villa had lost Ollie Watkins. I know Liverpool got points, but we're still only 2 points behind them. And then we go and get a win at West Ham, which was we knew before the game it was massive. And obviously we sat here and thought we're not feeling too confident, but you still always have that sort of little inkling in your mind that you might go nick a win, which we did. And it's funny how it's just completely give us this whole new look on European success, whether we can get there or not. And I suppose whether we do will be down to our really good away record, which is only City's got a better away record than us, can be either the reason we get Europe or the reason we don't get Europe is down to our home form or our home record all season, to be honest. But it's funny how after one weekend our hopes and mood on where we finish has completely changed. I thought we finished 1-10 after Villa, to be honest, but obviously now I think we can. It's down to, if we can get 3 wins, then it's looking good, because the other fixtures, the other teams facing are tough fixtures. Obviously, Tottenham's got some interesting fixtures, and they've got less games than us. I know I see City as a free hit, but even so, I think we've got a real good chance. But we've had so many good chances this season, and we've blew him. So I'm not saying we are going to get Europe, but I'm feeling optimistic.
Yeah, they drag you back in, don't they? Just when you think, you're done, the season's done, we've lost another game, we've lost another home game, you go away to West Ham in what was not only a massive game because West Ham are doing really well at the moment and have had a really good season, but also a massive game in terms of the league table and where West Ham are. I think that game puts us, that win puts us 3 points behind them, with obviously still the game in hand on Thursday against Villa. And like you said, it gives us that bit of optimism again. And just when we all sat here last week and said, no, that Villa defeat, that's it now, we won't finish in Europe, other teams will pick up points, we won't, we turn up at West Ham. And I suppose we shouldn't have really been that surprised, because that was, the performance was what Everton have done all season away from home, certainly against the better teams, and that's go there.
In London,
we've only lost once in London, 5 wins. I think we've won more in London away from home than the London teams have won away from home in London.
Big six as well.
Yeah, because we've turned up and we adopt this style and this tactic which is so difficult to play against, and it's just to purely frustrate teams. Obviously we went with the 5 at the back, it was a 4 at the back at times, but it was a 5 at the back for most of the game, with Godfrey, Mina and Keane in the centre-back partnership. We had Alan and Tom Davies in the midfield for the first time in a while, who were absolutely excellent. Tom Davies pretty much solidifying his position there. For me, it shouldn't be any other partnership now, other than when Abdoulaye Doucouré comes in. Tom has to play the remaining 4 games of the season. And yeah, we battled, didn't it? We made it horrible for West Ham. We fought. We dug deep. We made it difficult for them. We hit them on the counter-attack. We took our chance fantastically by Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and now we're all roped back into believing we're going to finish in Europe now.
Why? I was going to ask, do you think we don't play the way we play away at home?
No.
Why don't we play that way at home? Why do you think the players can't? Obviously, it seems like we're a different team away. We're well drilled. We work hard. We are a really good defensive side, and it plays off so well away. But why do you think we'd sort of lose our heads a bit at home? Do you think it's because we play a different style of play, or why do we play a different style of play at home?
It's been difficult. It's a question that obviously everybody's had all season. Why can we go away to Anfield and win but lose to Fulham at Goodison? Why can we go away to Arsenal and win but lose to Burnley? Why can we go away to West Ham and win but lose to Villa? I think purely, just over the last few weeks or so, having a look at it, I think it's a case of when we go away from home, we sort of allow teams to have the ball, and we are happy to play that sort of sit back, let them come at us, defend, and then hit them on the counter-attack. Whereas at Goodison, teams adopt that sort of style with us. This isn't the way Everton play away from home. It's not something that is just, exclusive to Everton. A lot of teams have done this season when they go away from home, and that's why a lot of teams have got much better away records than they have home records, because they go away and they say to the opposition, right, you have the ball, and you come at us, we'll defend, and we'll hit you on the break. And Everton have got the quality to do that, whereas at home, when the onus is on us, and when teams say, go on, you have the ball, you break us down, I just think we lack that little bit of probably intelligence, maybe quality, to break teams down in that way. So
that was the same problem with them across the park. They went 3 years unbeaten at home in the league at least, and then they lost 6 on the bounce, didn't they? Because and if you look at the goals they scored at home, they were getting beat 1-0, 2-0 at home because they couldn't break teams down at home, which is, I suppose, like if you look at the West Ham game on the weekend, I've seen a lot of West Ham fans taking the mix, saying, "Oh,
Stoke,
part of the Bus FC, Carlo Pulis have seen."
Take it.
But if you look back at New Year's Day, West Ham at Goodison, that's exactly what they did to us. We couldn't break them down. We saw quite a bit of the ball, and you don't have to look at the stats from the weekend. West Ham had 68% possession and with 0 shots on target.
That's it. I was going to say, it can't be Park the Bus FC if the opposition team doesn't have a shot on target. If
we had 3.
Exactly. Yeah. If they'd have had 20 shots on target and Jordan Pickford makes 15 unbelievable saves, then I'd have probably said, you know what, we sat back a little bit there and that. But they didn't have any, other than the 2 hairy moments with the Ben Rama header and the Jared Bowen shot it in the post. They had nothing throughout the rest of the game. So it's not like they come forward and attacked us in numbers. They didn't really have much at all. So it's the way Everton play away from home, and we've been very successful at doing it. And I get that the home form is, again, ultimately, if we finish in Europe, great, brilliant, but the home form is still going to be something at the end of the season that we sit here and we say, if it was better, who knows where we could have been. For example, if we'd have won all of those games, not taking away your Chelsea away, take away your City at home, take away your United at home, if we'd have just beaten your Fulhams, your Burnleys, your Leeds,
would have won the league.
Well, we'd have been up there. We'd have
been second.
We'd have been second behind City comfortably. So with the Champions League would have been done. It'd have been solidified. Would have been in there. But we haven't. It's those games that we haven't won. So we're still going to look back at the end of the season and go, our home form hasn't been good enough. But we've given ourselves now, I feel, one last chance. We can't afford now. If we lose to Sheffield United at the weekend at home, or even to Villa away on Thursday, it's not like we can say, well, if we beat Wolves or if we beat Sheffield United, we're right back in it. This is last chance saloon now for Everton. We can't afford to go and drop points again. For me, we've got 4 games left. We've got Villa away, which we should be winning, because we know away from home we're a much different team than we are at home. They're without Ollie Watkins now. Even if Jack Grealish is back, he's only just coming back, so he's not going to be anywhere near match fitness. Not to say he's still not a quality player. Yeah. Then we've got Sheffield United at home, which has got to be a win. They've won 1 away game all season, drawn 1, lost 15, I think. So if you don't beat them, then we shouldn't be even thinking about Europe. And then you've got Wolves at Goodison, which is the last home game in front of 5,000-6,000 Evertonians. And Wolves have had a bad season as well. Win all 3 of them, and we go into City on the last day of the season, and you're sort of thinking, hopefully it's a bit of a free hit. Hopefully we're already in Europe at that point in some form. But those 3 are absolute must wins.
It is, because if you look at Tottenham's fixtures, I think they've got Villa at home.
Leicester on the last day.
Yeah, but the Leicester on the last day is a big game. Obviously, Baz was saying to us yesterday that they'll have to, because Leicester's got United away and Liverpool away. I think if they want Champions League, that's a must win for them. And I think we've got 1 more fixture to play. We've got a game in hand over Tottenham. And I think we're a point behind, and then 2 points behind Liverpool. So the opportunity is there, but it is must 3. It is 3 must win games. But hopefully, I'm feeling confident that Villa can get. I know it's at Villa Park, but I'm feeling confident that they can get a point against Tottenham. They are a good side, Villa, especially at home. That was the thing with West Ham as well. West Ham have been such a good team all season, and then they had a chance to go in the Champions League, and I think that really had to win the game on the weekend, and they sort of not let themselves down, because I thought we were a really good team. But West Ham have been a team that's been so good at home all season, so solid, and to go and get 3 points there was a massive game for us. So I'm very pleased. What did you make of the situation with the strikers up front? Just wanted to touch on, why do you think obviously they had such a good season last season, and the goal return was pretty good between them. They played pretty well together. Obviously, Richarlison's a split striker, but I think they didn't have a great. Obviously, Dom had a good game. I think Richarlison was good in the first half, but they haven't been, certainly over the last few games. I think with Richarlison especially, they don't gel together as nice as we'd like to, or as well as they did last season. Yeah. Certainly, I think. Do you think it's I don't want to say a greed thing. They do like each other. Do you think it's just a chemistry thing, or do you think with Richarlison he sort of wants to be the one who texts everyone and scores himself rather than lay it off to Dom?
Yeah, I think it's a chemistry thing, to be honest with you. I'm the same as I'm sure most people are. I don't subscribe to this. They don't like each other. They don't get along stuff, because they clearly do. Richarlison was the first person to jump all over Dom when he scored the other day, and you can see it. I think with Richarlison, I get it. I get the frustration with him when he goes off and he looks a bit annoyed and he's sulking a little bit. I understand that, but I also try and put myself in Richarlison's boots and to think this lad is a winner. He's a competitor. He wants to win. He wants to score. He wants to get involved. And he is probably sitting there now thinking, I've got 4 games to go. I've not had a great season. I want to at least end it on a high. So I understand, where fans are saying about the fact that, his attitude mightn't be, right, or he might seem a little bit selfish. But in your strikers, you want that little bit of selfishness. I get that sometimes there's a better option, and there was on a couple of occasions against West Ham. Same way as there was a couple of better options for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to play Richarlison in. It was the same. It wasn't just Richarlison not giving it to Dom. There was a couple where Dom could have given it to Richarlison and he didn't. And I get, like I said, I think there's a fine line between being purely selfish and just having that competitive sort of edge to you that you want to do as good as you want to do. And I said it on one of our teams earlier on today. I've had it in Sunday League where I've been playing really, really well. We've been winning 4 or 5-0. I've been playing up top. I haven't quite scored, but I've known sort of it's coming. And then you get taken off. And for the first couple of minutes, you're a bit, why have I been taken off? I fancied that there. I fancied myself for a goal. But then after that, 2-3 minutes later, you're all right. You're sound. You're going, oh yeah, we're winning. This is brilliant, this. So I don't think Richarlison hides the fact that he wants to be involved, he wants to score goals, he wants to be sort of the centre of attention. I think it's a chemistry thing, to be honest. I think what hasn't helped them both this season is the fact that they haven't played as a strike partnership for more than 2 or 3 games this season. Last season, let's not forget Richarlison at the end of last season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't score a goal in those 9 remaining games. Richarlison pretty much, I don't want to say saved our season because we got nowhere, but he was the goal scorer. Dom was playing off him. And if we'd have had the Richarlison of last season or the season before, 15, 16 goals, then again, who knows where we'd be this season. We can't really afford for Richarlison to have had a bad season because we don't have the goals in the squad. If let's say James had 10, Iwobi had 7, Alan had 6, Decore had 7, Dean had 6, Coleman had 6, then you could say, right, well, that makes up for Richarlison's missed goals, so it doesn't mean as much, but you could sort of get away with it a little bit more. Richarlison can't get away with having a season like he's had because we don't have the goals in the rest of the team. We simply don't. But I do think going forward, for me, if you can play them off each other, if you can play them as a strike partnership, I think you'll see the best out of them. And I think you could see a strike partnership that scores you 40, 50 goals a season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's only going to get better. He scored 21 goals this season, so let's just say for argument's sake he scores 25, 26 next season. If you've got Richarlison then scoring 15, 16, 17, you've got strikers there that are scoring 40 goals in a season for you. That's so vitally important. But I just think the thing that's let them down is a couple of things really. I think Richarlison's poor season and the fact that we've had to play so many different styles, so many different formations, so many different tactics through injury, through loss of form, and I just think that lack of consistency with the squad and the team and the way the team in which we play hasn't helped either of them. But look, for me, like you said, there's a real opportunity to get the best out of both players there by playing them next to each other and getting that chemistry. I think Carlo, David and Duncan Ferguson need to get in the summer, sit the pair of them down and say, you two are a partnership, you're a duo, you're not one good striker and another good striker, you're a duo together, you need to work off each other. Imagine you've got, in the summer, you sign a right winger who's belting down the wing, loads of pace, takes players on, puts the ball in. You've got maybe a left winger doing the same, you've got Hammers in the 10 and you've got them two off each other.
Yeah.
Imagine the goals that we could score.
Well, you mentioned the goals from midfield and the rest of the squad, which has been a problem for a few seasons. Certainly the last 2 seasons. We were looking in the summer thinking there's a couple of goals from Iwobi, I think a goal or two from Bernard, and the rest of them. Sigurdsson didn't really score much last season. I think he scored a penalty against Leicester, didn't he?
Yeah.
And and it's been the same this season. Obviously, Decore is one who we looked at thinking he might come in, he might score 6 or 7. I think he scored 3, has he?
Yeah.
Something like that across the whole season. It's fair enough because he's not been allowed to really go forward as we like, because we don't have that proper hold midfielder who can sit back and allow Alan and Decore can get on the pitch.
And he's been out injured as well for
exactly
12 weeks.
So that for me. Well, we'll talk about midfielders now. Someone for me, a signing for me we need to make is someone who can, a bit like Decore, who can get up the pitch, box to box, covers a lot of grounds, runs around the pitch all game, and can add a few goals to the squad, because that's our problem. We're not getting enough goals from elsewhere. We should be at least looking at 10 a season from the defence, 20 or 25 at least from the midfield, and obviously you said 40 or 50 from the striker partnership across all competitions. So what would be your ideal centre midfield this season?
Ooh,
this summer
going into next season. Well, I agree completely. I think we need, obviously we know we need a right back, we know we need a right winger, but in terms of centre midfielders, I think we do need another player in that Decore mould. There's obviously a lot of names being thrown out there. We were linked with Anguissa from Fulham a couple of days ago, Saturday night. We haven't been linked with, but I'd like us to be linked with Yves Bissouma from Brighton. Neither of them are really going to score you an awful lot of goals. I just want a midfielder who picks the ball up and runs forward, and we've seen Alan doing it on Sunday actually, and I think that was because he looked over his shoulder and thought, right, Tom Davies is behind me, so he'll cover any ground that I come forward. But Alan's almost got the, and he's shown on Sunday, he's got the ability to pick the ball up, take it round the player and make a burst and run forward, but he hasn't necessarily, at least shown this season, he's got the ability to then lace his foot through it and rifle it into the top. If you could mix Alan and Gylfi Sigurdsson together, you'd have a great midfielder.
He's a little bulldog centre midfielder. Yeah, he wants to go chase the ball and win the ball. He's not like a Decore. I suppose he's doing that because we've been missing Decore. He's been picking up the ball, so I'm the only one who's going to get it forward, which is brilliant. But
ultimately, he's come into the team. He was excellent for the first few months of the season.
Yeah.
He's 29 years old and he got a hamstring injury that kept him out for 3 months. Now he come back into the team 6 weeks ago, and I've seen people saying, "Oh, I don't know what's happened to Alan. Alan's gone down the pot. Alan looks awful." Well, yeah, because he's 29 years old and he'd been out for 3 months with an hamstring injury. He was always going to need 4, 5, 6 games to get back to match fitness, and that's why I'm quite happy Ancelotti persisted with playing him, even though when he come back into the team after that injury, he was sort of being ran ragged. He was being ran round by opposition players. He knew he needed that game time to get him back up to scratch, and on Sunday he was world class, mate.
Which, let's not forget, and Alan, that's not at peak fitness or a peak ability, offers a lot more than without sounding harsh, Andre Gomez.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Gylfi Sigurdsson at times. Obviously, Gylfi Sigurdsson's numbers would sort of go against that, I suppose.
Well, Gylfi is he's a different type of player, isn't he? He's a creator. Yeah. He's like a Hammers, but not as much flair and ability as Hammers.
I like Sigurdsson as playing off the striker, as a split striker or a number 10. Higher up the pitch, we didn't have to run. He's got legs around him. He's brilliant. But when you put him in the midfield role, when he has to get when he played against Arsenal, he spent most of his time trying to get back and defend.
Yeah. Gylfi Sigurdsson should be doing most of his work in the opposition box. Yeah, because he can score goals. He's good with his feet. Not in doing what Alan does or next to Alan. I think the only player that's shown in recent weeks that he can pick the ball up like Alan does is Tom Davies. Yeah, exactly. He's the only player that progresses the ball forward. Obviously, Decore does when he comes back in. So, no, he's brilliant, Alan. He is. He's absolutely fantastic. And for me, for the rest of this season, it's Alan, Decore and Davies. Going into next season, it's hard to pick out names because there's so many players that have got that ability and that pick a ball up and run with it and can take players on and can score. But ultimately it's difficult because we're talking about having Abdoulaye Decore and Alan in the midfield next season, plus Hammers being in there when he's fit, and then still needing another centre midfielder. So it's tough, but we just need energy, mate. We need legs. We need players that can get about the pitch. Look at Abdoulaye Decore. He's not technically the most unbelievable footballer, but because of the energy he brings,
it makes a massive difference.
He's the most important player in this squad, arguably.
Well, even then, we've not allowed him to play. If you watch him against Watford, he has the two older midfielders behind him. I think it was Will Hughes, and at times it would have been Cleverley as well behind him. But obviously, he had the cover behind him to allow him to get forward and make runs into the box, and we've not seen that from him this season because we've had it's been playing a sort of defensive role so much this season and filling out right back to allow Coleman to get forward. So bringing in a player like him, and to be honest, bringing in a number 6 for me, someone who can sit and protect the back four and allow Allen to go win the ball like the little dog he is, and allow Decore to go forward. I suppose that's what Tom Davies can do for us towards the end of the season so well. But we've seen links to, is it Boubakary Soumare this week? Yeah. It seems like he's going Leicester, isn't it? That seems like a done deal, 30 million, but he would have been perfect. Big, fast, athletic, box-to-box player. I think someone like him would have been amazing, but I suppose you have to go and get him secured before the other team, all the other clubs go after them, because they are such high demand players, and obviously Leicester went after him, got him. Well, it looks like they've gone after him and got him secured. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, look, if Leicester City are after a player, you know that they're usually a very good player. Leicester City's recruitment in recent years has been absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, they know what they're doing, don't they? They know. They're spot on, mate. They know exactly what they're doing. They sell their big assets. Their Mahrez, their Kante, their Maguire, and just as the fans think, oh well, why are we selling our best players? Their recruitment is unbelievable. They sold Maguire. They brought in Fofana, who's been absolutely phenomenal this season. Young. Go on. They're being that sort of step-up club that they across the park were. We were for quite a few years, and we were consistent. We just didn't have the money to bring better players back in, but it worked well for us. And look how it's done for Lille as well. They're the top of the French league, and Dortmund's been that sort of step-up club for a long time. And Leipzig, and that's Dortmund's sort of philosophy is to bring players in. Erling Haaland knows he's not going to be there in 3 years. Jude Bellingham knows he's not going to be there in 5 years. Jadon Sancho knows he's not, but they bring them in and they make them a success. And that's what Leicester have done. Leicester have accepted that, okay, we might be a club that players come to progress and then ultimately leave. But if those players, when they're progressing, are bringing quality and are bringing ability, then by definition, we're going to be finishing in the European places. They'll finish in a Champions League place this season. I firmly believe they will. They won the league a couple of years ago. Like I said, they sold Maguire, they brought in Fofana, they sold Kante, they brought in Ndidi, Tielemans, who's absolutely excellent. I wanted Tielemans when he was playing in Belgium. Absolutely excellent footballer. They brought in... Look at James Justin as well. It cost them nothing. Exactly. And then they've got the academy players coming through. Harvey Barnes, who was technically a fantastic footballer. So, as soon as I seen Leicester... we're linked with Soumare. I wanted Boubakary Soumare anyway, but as soon as I seen Leicester we're linked with him, I thought, well, that pretty much solidifies that he's a very, very good footballer. And you know which players from Leicester will be moving on next? James Maddison, he'll be at probably United in the next couple of years, or like Chelsea or someone. Tielemans, he'll probably go off to City or somewhere in the next couple of years. He's a real talent. Harvey Barnes, he might end up going to Liverpool one day. Indeed, exactly. He'll probably end up at PSG or something. But they'll keep bringing the younger players in. And they'll keep being a successful team that finish in the higher positions in the Premier League. I suppose that's the model we have to look at and go, why aren't Everton sort of not doing exactly the same thing, but why aren't we going after more of these? We've seen players like Nkunku and Branthwaite coming in. Why aren't there more of these players? We've passed up players like Sangari and players like, I know Lampsey's not been injured quite a long time, and Lampsey's more for a right wing back than a right back, but players like these that are young and hungry. But I suppose Godfrey was that sort of player, and it's a player that I, not a centre back, but it's the same type of player I want to go see us sign in the summer. Young, hungry, athletic, and most importantly, pace. Because there's no pace in our squad. And massive, physical, big, rock solid, immovable. But the thing is Everton need to start looking at, instead of looking at these, Everton, we know as a football club, we can't buy the best of the best. We can't go out and buy Kevin De Bruyne. We can't go out and buy, I was going to say Lionel Messi, then probably could. Barcelona probably. We can't buy the best. We can't buy Mbappe. We can't buy Haaland. We can't buy that best level. So we need to avoid going after the players that were probably up there with the best 7 or 8 years ago, and in the last 7 or 8 years I've had injury after injury after injury after injury. Not really interested in coming to Everton and making us a success because they've already been there. Probably just looking, thinking I'll get a decent payday there, I might sell a few shirts, and we need to avoid. I know we brought in James and it sort of goes against this philosophy, but James is the exception. You can have a James Rodriguez in your team. You can't have 7, 8, 9 James Rodriguez's in your team. Because there's no hunger. No hunger. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I'd rather go after the players that
not again, I said this the other week, I don't just mean any championship player, any player in the lower league who is just any player. Obviously they've got to have quality, they've got to have ability, but I'd rather go after the players with quality and ability in the lower leagues or in the different leagues around Europe that aren't quite at that Champions League level yet, but definitely will be within 2 or 3 years, 100% will be, than go after the players that have been at the Champions League level, but in the last 2 or 3 years have had constant injuries, are getting to that age where they're coming towards the end and they've not got any real motivation, any fire in their belly. Like Coutinho, we said that last week. What fire does he have in his belly to come to Everton? Sergio Aguero, we were linked with. Where's Sergio Aguero's motivation? If he wins the Champions League with City, he'll have won everything with City. What's his motivation to come to Everton?
They'd be coming for a final contract, really, wouldn't they? You mentioned players that will be good enough to get in the Champions League but aren't there yet, so they come to Everton, they come to a team like Everton, which they did for years or Leicester now, to prove that they can. So like Leon Bailey, he's not going straight to Liverpool or straight to Man City. Liverpool are certainly not that team they were anymore, but before they go to United or the Cities or the Barcelona or Madrid, they'll come to a team like Everton, and like Lukaku, they'll come. I know he's already at Chelsea, but we come to Everton, prove that he can do it in the Premier League for a good team, proved he could do it in Europe, and then he got his big move to United, and obviously now he's just won the Italian League with Inter. So players like Leon Bailey, young, hungry, pacey, athletic, they want to come prove they can do it in the Premier League at a good club like Everton, get us into Europe, and then all the big teams go down and look at them. Like players like Richarlison. I know he's not been great this season, but Richarlison, the last season, the season before, you think he's going to go to Barcelona one day or something. So he'll prove that he can get a team like Everton into Europe, get unbelievable numbers, prove he can do it at the top level, prove he can do it against the best teams, and he'll get his move, and we'll get the big money for him. He's got us into Europe, so we've benefited from it, and we'll go get the next Richarlison. Yeah.
Well, we'll put it this way: if I was to say to everybody watching, would you rather Everton? I'm not going to name names, but would you rather Everton go out in the summer and sign 5 players who are young, hungry, athletic, got that fire in the belly? But I'll say to you now, we go out and we sign those 5 players in the summer, and in 4 years' time, they all leave. No matter how good they are, they've all improved, but they all leave. But they leave with Everton in the Champions League, and Everton are a consistent challenging in Europe. Or would you rather go out and buy 5 players who come in that have been in the Champions League before, but have had injuries recently, and in 5 years we're no further along than where we are now? And
after selling those young, hungry players, we've got 200 million to go get the next young, hungry lot.
That's it. Well, what we need to do is we need to get to a position where we're a consistent challenging in Europe, we're a consistent challenge in the Champions League, let's be honest, because that's the club's ambition, that's what the club keeps saying. And then when we get to that position, a bit like where Leicester will be if they can continue their form, then we look at the players that we've got and we think, right, how can we keep these players? How can we turn this team into a championship winning team, a Premier League winning team, not a championship, a Premier League winning team, a Champions League winning team. We can't go from 10th or 12th in the Premier League to how do we turn this 12th in the Premier League team to a Champions League winning team, because it's that you got to be able to crawl before you can run, and at the moment we've got no legs. So let's grow a pair of legs and let's do the natural progression, which is bring these players in. Even if we're bringing players in and we say to them 5 years at a time, you might be playing for Man City, you might be playing for Barcelona, you might be playing for Real Madrid, but in 5 years' time, you'll have taken us into the Champions League places.
And look at what Poch did for a team like Tottenham, who were basically when you were growing up, what were Tottenham? They were rubbish. They finished below us. They were always around us in my early teens, but they were nothing club. And Pochettino come in, he turned to get young, hungry players who can, they want to take that next step up into basically a step up club. They got young, hungry players, pacey. They had talent. They had players like Kane coming through, and he got them into Europe and Champions League, and then they backed it up by Champions League every season. And I know they didn't spend a lot of money over the past 3 years, but look at they're a super elite team. They've suddenly become like a really big club, and it's like shocked to see them not in the top 4 or at least top 6 or something. They're a big 6 team. What were they 10 years ago?
Well, that's it.
It's come from back-to-back European success.
That's it. And the thing is, with being a step-up club, we don't want to be a step-up club who players come to play and then leave and we still stay in the same position. But the reality of the situation is, if a player comes to Everton Football Club, does well for 3 years and leaves, the club is going to have done well, the team is going to have done well, we're going to be in a better position. So if you're sitting here saying, can Everton bring in, I don't know, let's say Leon Bailey this summer, and I'm not going to tell you what happens for the next 3 years, but Leon Bailey moves to Barcelona in 3 years' time, that tells me that Leon Bailey's been absolutely excellent for Everton. And if we bring in more players like that who leave in 5 years' time, Everton are going to be in a much better position in the league. So it's not being a step-up club to the point where players come, don't really care, do well and leave, and we stay in the same position. For us to be a step-up club, it must mean that we've improved as a club. We've gotten to a position where we're challenging. Everton need to look at being, even if we finish in Europe this season, which will be great, it'll be brilliant, it'll be dead good, and we'll all be made up. That doesn't mean we're a consistent European team. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not just think that if we finish in the Europa League at the end of the season or the Conference League, that's it. Then that means that Everton
got to be backed up.
You've got to do it. You've got to do it 3 years on the bounce. Let's again, small steps. Let's become a team that finish in the Europa League 3-4 years on the bounce. Because that's the next step, effectively. It's no good finishing in it this season, getting knocked out in the group stage next season, and then finishing 12th again. It means nothing. It meant nothing when Ronald Koeman done it. It meant nothing when Roberto Martinez done it. We need to be a consistent team in Europe, and finishing in there once doesn't make you that. Finishing in there season in, season out makes you that. And look, like I said, we need to sign the right players at the right stages in the career with the right hunger, the right fight, the right, want to win, and like Ben Godfrey, like you said, the team of Ben Godfreys.
I suppose the Europa Conference League can be, if we can get that, and we get Europa League the next season or Conference League again. That's obviously the past 3 years or the past 3 times we got into the Europa League, we've been pretty awful, haven't we? To be honest, we've been terrible. We get into the Conference League and we could easily come and win that.
Yeah, well,
easily.
I think the thing is certainly the last 2 times we've been in the Europa League, we finished in there under Koeman, didn't we? We were awful.
Yeah,
got knocked out in the group stage, and we didn't do we didn't do much better in the league.
Getting flashbacks to
it was horrible to Atalanta
and is it Leon?
Leon, yeah, where Ashley Williams just decided that he's going to just spark everyone else.
Yeah, that bloke in
with the baby
in Lower Gladys,
yeah,
stood there with a child. He's like going, come on then.
That was
the kid in his hand.
That was one of my darkest days as an Evertonian, that, because it very literally got to the point then where the players just went, do you know what, we're just going to scrap because we can't be bothered playing football. But even that season, like I said, we got knocked out of Europe early on. All of that joy and elation and excitement of the season before finishing in Europe. I remember going and watching us in Croatia and Split, thinking, yes, I can't wait for more of these days. I can't wait to go away more with Everton. And we got bounced in every group stage game. And even the Martinez season, where we done relatively well in the Europa League, I think we got to the quarter final against Kiev, was it? And Yarmolenko tore bits out of us. Our league form was drastic. It was horrible. It was awful. So I don't want, if you were to say to me, right, Cam, Everton finish in the Europa League next season, you go out in the quarter final, even semi-final, you go out in the semi-final and you finish 13th, 14th in the Premier League, I'd say, well, what does that do for us? Because unless you win it doesn't really mean. I've never been a fan of this. We had a good cut run. A good cut run is winning the cup. If you get to the final and lose, it's the same as losing in the second round. You've still lost. You still haven't won it. And if your league form is going to drastically, plummet because of being in a European competition, it shows you your squad isn't good enough. So if we finish in Europe, we have to go out and invest to the level where we can compete in both the league and the Europa League, or the Conference League, whichever one we're playing in next season. I don't want to be sitting here this time next season saying, well, we've been like Arsenal, we've been knocked out of the Europa League in the semi-final, which means nothing really, and we're probably going to struggle to finish within the top 10 in the Premier League. Look at Arsenal fans now. They want Arteta out. They want him gone. They don't think it's been a good enough season, and it hasn't by their standards. If you're not going to win the competition, then it's not a good cut run because you haven't won it. If we go out in the semi-final of it and finish 6th or 5th, then sound.
Go again next season.
That's it. But if we finish 11th, 12th, 13th and go out in the semi-final, then has that been a successful season? No, in my opinion. So we need serious investment this summer either way. Either to get us in, to guarantee us Europe next season if we don't finish in it this season, or to guarantee we can perform in the league and Europe next season.
Well, this summer will be massive. Certainly, if you want to, obviously, we're moving to the new stadium in the next 3 or 4 years. So to get a good summer, get into Europe, and because we don't want to be still where we are going to the new stadium. We want to be like, we've had 2 seasons in Europa League, or we're in the Champions League. We've had a few years backed up in Europe, so
Well, the club said it themselves, didn't they? They want to be in the Champions League when we move into the new stadium. They want to be challenging for the Premier League title. Carlo Ancelotti hasn't come in for us to be a mid-table team. He's come in to be backed and to take Everton into the consistent Champions League challenging team. And you might laugh at that now, and you might say, "Oh, we need to sort our own record out first," and that's fine. And these are all the issues that everybody at the club has to deal with. The Calvert-Lewin Richarlison issue we just spoke about, that's something that Duncan Ferguson, David and Carlo are going to have to sit down in the summer and say to the pair of them, you're a partnership, you work together. The transfers, Marcel Brands going to have to sit down with Carlo and figure that out. It's again, we don't want to be in the same situation in 3-4 years time as to that we're in now. Well, I don't think we will be either, by the way.
When we're moving stadium, Amazon Prime will make a documentary about a mid-table team, will they?
That's it.
We want our Amazon Prime documentary. Look what it did for Tottenham one was brilliant, wasn't it?
Everton done an Amazon Prime. It would be an absolute car crash, wouldn't it? I don't think I could watch it, I honestly don't. I just think
you'd feel like no, too much.
That's what I mean. I just feel like I'd just get too annoyed that there'd be something there that just, even if it was like, I don't know, the scrams on a match day or something, I'd just get dead annoyed.
Why are they eating sweets on a match day?
That's it. I love watching the other ones because I don't really care about their clubs or what they do, but I just think everything would piss me off if they had one.
The Tottenham one, it's like they show you the players scrapping in the changing room because they want to win, and ours would be like, other players would just be like,
that's it.
After 3-0,
shaking hands.
3-0 loss, going, yeah.
That's it. Shaking hands. I don't know. I'd love it, but I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't love it on another hand. I don't know if I could watch it.
Yeah, big summer for us. So
absolutely.
Let's just go and prove our desire. Obviously, we got a game this Thursday. Obviously, we said 3 wins for Europe, really, isn't it? And hopefully, Tottenham's fixtures go our way, as in they drop a lot of points.
Which they look
or
like.
Or at least drop some points. Which is possible. So are you feeling, obviously Watkins out with the ban. 2 yellow cards, obviously got sent off for a blatant dive, which has come from nowhere. Suddenly decided to book players for diving now. Where's this been with Mo Salah for the past couple of years?
It's with some players and with some clubs it's being clever, trying to win a foul cleverly, and other clubs it's diving and decepting the referee.
It was a blatant dive, but
it was awful.
So I suppose that's obviously last season they were stuck with was a Wesley up front, and they had a player like Grealish who created more chances than anyone but Kevin De Bruyne, I think, last season, but they finished 17th because they didn't have that striker. So I think going into Thursday, I think Ollie Watkins is a big miss for Villa, and a big opportunity for to go there and keep a clean sheet, try and nick the 3 points, and that would be, because I mean, what's the point in even fighting for Europe if you can't beat Sheffield United and Wolves at home, especially with fans in the stadium for Wolves?
Yeah.
But that Villa game is such a big opportunity now. Ollie Watkins is out, and it's a massive game. So are you feeling confident for Thursday? Do you think we can go and get 3 points, especially after the performance against West Ham?
I am confident, mate. I'm confident because we're away from home, and like I said, I think we're a completely different team away from home. But I'm also confident because I've got this blind loyalty to Everton, which in my heart is telling me, surely, we've already had about 45 opportunities to put in a decent run of form this season after we've won big games away. Surely we can't throw another one. Surely we've got to just go and win a game, win 2 consecutive games on the bounce. And look, the reality of the situation is, like you said, Tottenham need to drop points, and they may drop points, your Leicesters, your Liverpools, your West Hams, etc. Doesn't matter for anything if Everton don't go and win all of our games.
Absolutely.
Tottenham could lose at the weekend. Liverpool could lose. West Ham could lose. If we lose on Thursday, it doesn't really matter, does it? That's what the last couple of games, certainly the West Ham game, I found myself not really worrying about other teams' results if Everton have lost, because I've sat there and gone, doesn't matter, because we've thrown in anyway, so it doesn't matter how these teams get on. We haven't helped ourselves. And the same when we win, I've sort of gone, well, we've won, we've done all we can do, so it doesn't, that is out of our control. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming out, to be honest, at the end of the last game and saying basically we're sick of talking about how we need to keep the momentum going, and we're not focusing on anyone else, we're just focusing on the next game. I think that is nice to hear. And look, ultimately, like you said, Ollie Watkins, who a week or so ago absolutely ran riot round our defence, had them on toast all day. And don't get me wrong, obviously we don't know the situation with Yerry Mina yet. The assumption is that if he's picked up an injury, he's probably going to be out, which is disappointing.
If it's just groin, it'll be the season now, because it should be 6 weeks for your groin. We already rushed him back in. It was groin last time, wasn't it, when he overstretched? And
he was brilliant against West Ham, absolutely brilliant. He's a ball magnet.
Class.
So there's that little bit of a worry for me, but listen, Everton, again, I know Villa are a good team and I know Villa beat us last week, but again, if we want to be seen as a team that are finishing in Europe and a real competitor in Europe, then you have to beat Aston Villa. The other two games, no excuse for whatsoever. City at the end of the season can be a free hit, but this is arguably, the biggest and most important game of our season. And I know we said that last week, and I know we've said that multiple times before, but this is it now. There's no room for slipping. If we slip up on Thursday, I think that's done then.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be 3 wins.
It's got to be.
I don't know if this makes sense. I'm feeling confident, but when I feel confident and I think Everton can go nick a win, every time I predict Everton to win on my predictor, we get beat. Obviously, all the games you think Burnley, West Ham, Leeds, all these games at home, Newcastle, you think we go and win, we get beat. So I'm feeling confident, but that sort of makes me nervous in a way. It makes me feel like, oh no, it's another game where I'm feeling confident. We should be expecting to win and probably go and
lose.
Bottle it, yeah.
Well, what gives me confidence is the fact that after the Arsenal game, we sat here on the podcast, didn't we? And we said it was a 0-0 and ended 1-0. It wasn't a good performance whatsoever. It really wasn't. The goal was...
And they were missing the strikers.
They were missing, yeah. The goal was shocking that we scored. We'll take it, but it was shocking. Goalkeeper mistake. And yet we just weren't great whatsoever. They weren't great either, but we weren't great. Whereas, I think against West Ham, I think we were good. I think we were decent. We defended well. We were clever.
We didn't make any stupid mistakes, which we did against...
We were solid. We out-tacticked them ultimately.
Yeah. We made stupid mistakes against Palace, Tottenham, Villa. Don't go out and make any stupid mistakes. Europe's on the line, and I think we can hit 3 points. I'll probably sound like an idiot now if we go and get beat 2 or 3-0 or something. But that'd be down to ourselves, really, won't it? So yeah, I'm feeling confidently unconfident. Unconfidently confident. I'm confident, but I'm not. That makes me feel a bit nervous.
Like Everton, consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, exactly. We're such a weird team. You don't know which Everton's going to turn. That's the problem. That's it. Really good us or the really poor us. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Thanks for listening to the Toffee TV Everton podcast. Thanks for Cam once again for joining us from the Mighty Blues. Go out and check out his channel. If you want more videos, including live exclusive videos, then head over to Patreon. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, and see you later.